My name's Will DeFries, and this is the Sunday Scaries podcast, your cure for the Sunday blues. There are a lot of things to love about fall. Crisp IPAs enjoyed outside, the distraction of football on our televisions, and the changing of colors. But there's one thing that a lot of us look forward to every autumn more than anything else: getting dressed. As the temperature begins to dip further and further into the 50s and 60s, it's officially time to start pulling out your fall wardrobe. Whether you're trying to dress like the Princess Diana on a Scottish hunt or Chandler from the Friends episode, the one with the football, we can all admit that fall style is more fun than any of its counterparts. And who better to discuss this fall style trends and staples with me other than our in-house fashion consultant and Club Cool host, Barrett Dudley. Barrett, welcome to the Sunday Scaries podcast.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Very excited to talk about the season when we can really start dressing.
Exactly. Precisely. In my head, I was like, I can talk about this alone, but I really don't want to. I want to have somebody here that I can just talk to about everything and anything.
Definitely.
Let's start off, and this is just a question that I don't know the answer to, Barrett. Where does fall rank in your favorite seasons when it comes to fashion?
So it's interesting for us living in Texas to talk about the fall season, as it were, because we really don't get a fall.
Mm-hmm.
Like this morning for us, it was like 65 degrees, probably about 70 right now, and it's downright fall weather right now for us, right? Like I threw on this flannel. I'm like, I've got a little layering going on. Like I'm in jeans. So this was I snatched this small opportunity to to do a little bit of this fall dressing. It's in my mind. I think it's number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like last fall, I took a trip to New York, and that was a huge opportunity for me to get some kits off.
Oh, you just had to do everything,
right? And but when I think about I guess in Texas, it's really more like that, like November to February range, where we get the most opportunity to kind of throw it down. So I guess it's fall, but really kind of winter technically.
The way that I look at being in a warm weather state is that even though we don't get the typical fall things, we don't get the changing of colors, we don't get that immediate crisp air that comes in early September, like a lot of northern states get.
Right.
But what we do get is the extended fall.
Yeah.
So while we don't get the instant gratification, we get to kind of elongate everything over the course of a few months. And so we're not all just rushing to put on our coolest fall item the second it gets cold outside.
Definitely. And it's not the worst thing in the world that Thanksgiving rolls around and there are some days where you can still throw on shorts and a t-shirt.
It's great.
That is nice to have. But for those of us that do like to get dressed up and wear our sweaters and our jeans and all that type of stuff, it's definitely I look forward to the cold days as well.
Absolutely.
But when I think about just what we're labeling the clothes, fall clothing is definitely, it's tops for sure.
That same for me. I can't really even think of one that's second at this point. I don't get excited for summer stuff anymore.
No.
I don't get excited for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And we don't get the opportunity to buy the severe winter clothing. So it's I guess fall's really all I have.
Yeah.
Quarantine's completely shaken things up for me, and I'm truly buying less clothes than ever. What can I expect from fall trends this fall? What's in, what's out? Are there any collaborations or anything like that I should be keeping an eye out for? What's going on?
Yeah, I think what quarantine did more than anything is it tamped down this burgeoning return to tailoring, and this kind of there was absolutely this clear desire to move away from athleisure and start looking a little bit more put together and elegant. And I think that's still that's still kind of burning underneath, and you see that in a lot of the brands that are kind of making waves right now. But at the same time, what came back in full force is the idea that everything that you own and want to wear right now needs to be comfortable as well. Mm-hmm. And so I think people are finding ways to be comfortable and not have it be completely athleisure. And it's kind of fitting really well with the rise of baggier and looser silhouettes as well.
Yeah.
Because just from my own experience, I've been a skinny jeans guy for so long. And I suddenly started graduating into these looser fitting pants, and it's hard to go back to the skinny jeans now because the looser stuff is so much more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild the difference in a pair of pants that's a little bit baggy on you, and super slim jeans that you're just dying to take off at the end of the night.
Yeah,
You know what
for
I mean?
me, it's just having buttons on my pants at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, if it's a pair of pants that doesn't fit me super well, I'm like, oh, why am I wearing these damn pants right now? I could use an elastic waistband more than anything.
Yeah, but I think everybody is going to be working from home for the most part still. So I expect to see a lot of hoodies. I expect to see a lot of sweats and more comfortable pants. And you've got a New Balance collaboration to look forward to from Aime Dore. And people will definitely be cozy, I think, this fall and winter.
Speaking of them, they launched a month ago, almost exactly, their marketing campaign for their fall line, and I have to say it was one of the most circulated fall drops that I've ever seen on the internet.
Yep. They
gained about almost 20,000 followers just from that drop circulating on Instagram, and I've never seen so many people. I mean, we were already in on this brand. We've already had stuff from them, and I think been very blatant about that.
Yeah, totally.
I've never seen more people in on them, and I really couldn't be happier about it at this point.
Yeah, I'm glad that you have a number there to kind of back that up with the growth in followers. This season in particular, they are selling out of more stuff than I've ever seen them sell out of.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do a collaboration or a sneaker or a loafer or something like that, that usually has some hype around it and is expected to move quickly. But now you're seeing regular cut and sew items move super fast as well. You got denim overshirts selling out in the first 2 days.
Yeah.
So it's I actually looked at their follower count and saw that they were close to 400K, and it definitely wasn't that big the last time I had looked.
And they've gone up since then. This is just purely from the week that they dropped that campaign to the end of that week. And so it was clear. I mean, I don't know. Some people might not have a good grasp of how many followers that is just for one thing. I mean, it's pretty insane that they could do something like that for an already pretty established brand.
Yes.
And I think that their staples, they call it uniform,
mm-hmm.
that a lot of that stuff's already sold out,
yeah.
and I think it's because of the quarantine effect of
Definitely.
people being like, okay, I need to upgrade to my really nice sweatpants.
Get some nice sweats. Yes, totally. I'm generally not I'll spend a little bit of money on on a hoodie that I think is really cool, mm-hmm. but for super basics like that, I generally don't. That's just not the most fun stuff to buy.
Yeah.
But this time around, they've also got a great. They killed a color this season with their rosin. Their kind of murky olive, oily, dark green, which is killer. And so I was very close to pulling trig on a full rosin sweatsuit, but I restrained myself.
Well, somebody did pull trig on the full one, and her name is Sally, and the sweatshirt did not fit as she wanted. It was a little baggy on her, and it is now mine. And
did you go with oatmeal?
No, she went with the
rosin?
green, and then I did get an oatmeal shirt. I had to do a tribute to oatmeal season, and I felt like if my favorite brand was going to release something oatmeal, I had to.
You had to have a piece of it. Totally understand. And the oatmeal looked great. I think actually the oatmeal was the quickest mover too.
Probably the green was definitely next because I know that a couple people who were trying to go back and get a different size, and it was not going to happen.
Yeah.
Did you see the Noah Barber collaboration from yesterday?
Oh, I absolutely did. Some really cool stuff in there. I think we're gonna have. I don't want to give anything away here, but we're gonna do a segment shortly, and a Barber jacket. It was close to it's on everybody's list basically for timeless fall items. I think, and so seeing Noah put their kind of irreverent spin on it was pretty cool. I really liked the kind of the multi-toned paneling. Mm-hmm. There was a darker kind of olivey brown that had almost like a burgundy sleeve that was pretty sweet.
Do you remember when Rowing Blazers did a collaboration with Barber and they had the same kind of idea going? And I feel like Noah just took that idea and just toned it down, and I was like, okay, now I like it. It's not as outrageous anymore.
Yeah. Rowing Blazers wears that almost like a douchey finance bro thing on its sleeve, and it can be pretty off-putting at times. I know it just a lot of the cool kids out there, the listeners of Club Cool are fans of Rowing Blazers, and the last time that I was in New York, I got to check out their shop, and I got it way more after having the store experience and like feeling the clothes and like it's very tongue in cheek. I don't think Rolling Blazers is trying to be like for your Wall Street Goldman Sachs asshats.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like but it can certainly look that way when you're just like perusing the website. So Noah really knows their stuff. They just have great marketing, great copy, and so I was not surprised to see them kind of crush this the Barber collaboration. Now, Barber just handing out collaborations recently. So I will say that I am not a Supreme guy. I own not a single piece of clothing from Supreme, but I actually liked what Supreme did with the Barber stuff better.
See, I didn't see it. Now I have to Google it mid-podcast.
So Noah kept it a little bit more like heritage. Like they kept those darker, like colors
they could
kind of
seamlessly
involved.
fit to the English countryside without somebody being like, what is this guy doing?
Absolutely. Supreme did a bright orange.
And a leopard print.
A solid black and a leopard print. Yeah.
I actually do kind of like that Barber was willing to go this far just based on, I've always looked at them as being like the Royal Family's brand. Really boring, really old, traditional, not willing to go away from the norm. And so to actually see them do this, and as I look at the stuff, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I don't own a Barber Vidal, and it's like, for me, it's a little too traditional. It's like a little too trad.
Yeah.
And so if I were ever to go grab one of these, I'd probably go look at some of these collaborations to find my piece.
Yeah. That's, understandable.
Yeah.
Here, so I want to skip ahead to something that you kind of alluded to earlier. And it's a question that I think we can probably base some conversation off of just based on our choices for this. But what's on your Mount Rushmore fall clothing?
Yeah. Okay. This was I was excited when you sent me this prompt because it's I love lists, and so it's fun to think about these type of rankings. I'm going to start with the first thing. Like this is really the only item on my list that was like, this is number one. This has to be here. It's not even close. It's just the number one on the Mount Rushmore, and that's a black cashmere crew neck sweater.
Barrett, that was number 2 on my list. That was number 2, and I ranked my list. And that was number 2 on mine, and that is something that I significantly invested in last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've lost 15 pounds through quarantine, and I'm deathly afraid to put that cashmere sweater on again.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We will see.
The thing about it is it's the most versatile piece in your closet, essentially, especially when cooler weather rolls around. Mm-hmm. It goes with anything, and cashmere is expensive for a reason. The one I have is over a decade old now, and it's got these little frays and like at the ribbing and like little like nicks and cuts, and like it pills a little bit, and it's better. It's like no matter how many like dope ass sweaters I buy this year, like I almost can guarantee that the one I wear the most is this 10-year-old black cashmere sweater.
Oh, I can't wait for mine to stop being like really nice and have a little more of that worn in feel. And even if it doesn't fit me for like going out and doing stuff, it's a little baggy. I'm going to use it as like a blanket in my apartment all the time. Yeah. If I'm like hungover on a Sunday, you better believe I'm just going to put on that cashmere sweater and just lay on the couch.
I think the good news for you, Will, is that like, I think a little oversized that's better than too tight for sure.
Exactly.
So I think you're still going to look sharp in it.
I'm pretty positive looking forward to it. What's next on your list?
So next is actually I'm sticking with knitwear here. They call it sweater weather for a reason. So next on my list is I'm going to call it a Cowichan. And what I mean by that, I'm just going to give you a description, right? I'm going to paint a picture for you. You have you've received the opportunity to take a stay on Yellowstone Dutton Ranch.
Oh, sign me up.
Yeah. Now this means that you are going to be treated to cookies the size of a plate, right? Mm-hmm. And and all sorts of other stuff, probably some great horseback riding, just beautiful scenery. And one of the times when you're really going to enjoy this scenery most is when you wake up in the morning and you get a beautiful two-tone ceramic mug. It's got the best cup of coffee you've ever had in it.
Do they sell those mugs?
And you walk out onto the porch. What are you wearing? You are wearing the burliest, chunkiest, like most heavy, badass, almost robe-like knit cardigan that you've ever seen in your life, and you look like Ralph goddamn Lauren standing out there. So it's I hope you can kind of envision what I'm talking about right now. But it's basically like a big chunky ass knit cardigan. Maybe it's in some type of marled textured fabric like you got it in Scotland. Maybe it's from Ralph Lauren himself and it's got like a more native or Navajo inspired pattern on it. And the reason this is there is because and this might be a little bit because we don't have a lot to look forward to at the moment, so that it's the littler things like hanging out with your family and having that morning cup of coffee. It's like, what do you want to wear, doing that type of stuff. But it's another item that like it's never going out of style.
Yeah.
There will always be a place for something like that in your wardrobe.
Yeah.
And it's also more so than like your standard black sweater, your black cashmere. I think it evokes fall a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so that's why
I agree.
I agree. That's why it's on my list there.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's something I need to invest in. I have some chunkier like cardigan things, but they're not so much that like they're still a little more fashionable and like wearing out stuff as opposed to stuff that you just wear around the house for pure comfort.
Yeah.
These aren't like the most comfortable things in the world.
Yeah, I'm talking like the more at home on the ranch this thing looks, the better.
Totally agree. What's next?
So next on mine, I'm going back to boring here. It's black jeans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, this is I think a reflection of having lived in Texas for my entire life, and jeans are like just borderline off limits from the months of May to August.
Yeah.
And so I very much, for me, like getting to wear pants every day again is like very much a fall winter thing, and it's something that I enjoy. And then black especially. Like even if I do have an opportunity here or there to wear trousers or pants for a dinner or a night out during the summer and the warmer months, it's probably not going to be anything black.
Yeah.
It's just too hot. And so again, this is here for kind of like versatility. This is Mount Rushmore that we're talking about, right? So these things cannot be like, obviously I could put together a 2020 Mount Rushmore where like, here's the 4 things that I want the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're carving these in stone, baby. We got to make sure they stand the test of time. And so it's just like that's one of the things that, again, that I will wear dozens of times over the course of fall, winter. And I'll wear black jeans with anything. I can pair them with sneakers with some Jordan 1s, or I can wear boots with them, and I can put on a hoodie, or I can go leather jacket. So it's like it spans the range of all the things that I want to wear in the fall and the winter.
That's something that I don't currently own. Jeans are something that I just don't. I don't feel like they fit me. I think they do fit me, but they're so much different than all my other pants that when I put them on, I'm like, these fit weird. And I just need to get over that, and I actually need to do it. The amount of times that I've had a pair of black jeans in my shopping cart being like, all right, I think it's time. And then I just have never, ever pulled trigger on it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
What's your final one?
Okay, I had a really tough time slotting in number 4 here. Let me give you some honorable mentions. I thought about stuff like lace-up boots, but
we're going to get to footwear in a few minutes here.
Okay. But footwear is difficult. Was difficult for me to put here because I wanted to be a little bit more specific. How am I gonna carve some random ass boot up there? The styles change too frequently. Boots that I loved 5 years ago, I'm like throwing on Grailed right now.
Yeah.
And it was so I couldn't. And then I could put like a high top sneaker on there, but then what's really fall about that? Not much.
Yeah.
So I just kind of threw a Birkenstock Boston would probably be great, but that's like super hot right now. Wasn't 5 years ago. So I just threw footwear out the door, and
I did the same thing.
So I am going with a Patagonia Snap Tee fleece.
Ooh, that was one that I probably should have thought of, and I didn't.
It was relatively last minute. I had these other 3 in my mind, and then I just started thinking about like people's like go-to items. And again, the Patagonia Snap Tee, it is truly it's the people's champ.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter if you are someone that skis in Colorado or you're a dude that lives in Central Ohio who goes to college. Like, you have a Snap Tee somewhere.
Yes. And I mean, you want to talk about like versatility. Like, you can style one of these on ASAP Rocky for an editorial photo shoot. You can be Shia LaBeouf walking out of Erewhon in LA like looking like a champ in one. You can literally ski in it. I skied in one under a shell just last December. You can, like you said, like what college kid doesn't have a snap tee?
Everybody.
So it's like it's chicks look just as good as dudes in these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly like just like a garment for the people. And
I messed up. I should have had this one on my list.
I got to throw Patagonia some love right now. They're doing everything right, and this is like their kind of the quintessential item. It's also like it's fleece, baby. That's what's more. It's more fall than fleece.
See, on my list, I had the cashmere sweater, and then outside of that, I had vests.
Okay.
Which I guess a fleece vest. There are a lot of Patagonia ones that I would probably put in that category. I think that they make better vests for their women's line than for their men's.
Okay.
That's just me. And then I also had on there wax jacket.
Yeah.
And a collegiate crew neck sweatshirt.
Okay.
And that might be a little more traditional, kind of like in there. And I don't really wear collegiate crew neck sweatshirts all that often, but I just kind of do the collegiate look of just wearing a crew neck sweatshirt.
Yeah. When you have, one that I can picture you in is like the Nubs Knob one, right?
Yeah.
And that's not, I would call that, even though it doesn't have a college on it, I feel like
it's collegiate.
It's collegiate.
It's
right?
collegiate.
Yeah. Your last two items there are definitely painting that Friends Thanksgiving episode picture.
I think that's what influenced me the most as a
Yeah.
kid, and it just ingrained it in me.
Yeah.
The other day we were recording an episode of The Mail-In, and I had a backwards hat on. It was one of the cold days that we had.
Yeah.
I had a backwards hat on, and I had on a crew neck sweatshirt, and Dylan just goes, "It looks like you're about to go play a pickup football game outside with some leaves on the ground." And I was like, well, yeah, that's kind of probably where the inspiration came from.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I thought about outerwear too. I thought about like maybe like some type of camel top coat, but I think you got it right there. I think if you're gonna put outerwear here, it's just like fall Mount Rushmore. It's got to be a wax jacket.
I'm currently at the crossroads of needing to re-wax my jacket, and I'm kind of stressing out about it. I did all the research I needed to do last night, and I think maybe tonight is the night that I decide to dive in and try to do it myself.
Wow.
I'm a little nervous.
There's got to be like 100 YouTube videos on this.
More than 100. Yeah, I asked the people at Filson what the best thing to do was, and they're like, it's going to take a while if you send it in here, but if you want to do it yourself, like, and you mess it up, just send it in again. I was like, okay, that works for me.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, it should be like it. You know, maybe it's a really cathartic process. You know, you like. I'm
kind of hoping so.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have the blow dryer out, just like really trying to get it all right at the same time. I may need Sally's help with that. So you briefly touched on footwear.
Yeah.
Shoes and footwear always stress me out when it comes to putting it together like a fall look, and so I just need to know what I need to have in my closet. Historically, I've all throughout my 20s, I was a big chukka boot guy. It was just a classic for me, but I just don't really gravitate towards them as much anymore, even though I think they're good looking. Duck boots for me are very situational, and I don't really love wearing mine that much anymore either. I don't think I look good in Chelsea boots. Sneakers just get kind of old, and I can't wear them out. Stocks and socks is just a very casual look, and I don't feel comfortable wearing that everywhere. The list goes on. But what are some staple footwear things that I need to have in my closet for fall?
Yeah. So I mentioned what I mentioned earlier was boots. That's kind of where my mind goes for fall footwear. And you mentioned the Chelsea boot. The Chelsea boot has kind of it's classic, never fully leaves, but it's now had its day here on its recent, it's had its recent turn as kind of like the GOAT, as they say, of your fall footwear rotation. And now we're back to, for me, the boots that I want most right now are inspired by two things. They're either like very like almost like borderline mountaineering, so stuff like Danner, or DM, an Italian footwear brand who another podcast actually just collaborated with, shockingly. And
Throwing Fits?
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, man, they kind of crushed these boots. Like, I'm kind of jealous right now.
Yeah. So that's like a brand called Grenson does a whole bunch of different styles of boots, but they have some of these that are like that they have like the lock lacing style, and they just look like the stuff that I'm talking about here almost looks like you're about to scale Mount Kilimanjaro or something.
Yeah, maybe go like fly fishing somewhere and kick them off right before you put on your waders.
Yeah, and then the other style that I'm really into right now is I'm going to call it. They're not bean boots, but they have that artisanal like made in Maine type of look. So you're seeing like a big stitched seams on the side. We're talking leather or suede construction, probably leather laces, and just like a kind of a chunky, burly Vibram sole, or even maybe crepe.
Okay.
But so what these two things like have in common is that they are they're chunkier. They feel more hefty, more substantial, and I think that kind of corresponds with the fact that we are loosening up our pants a little bit. We're wearing things slightly more oversized. And so the really like streamlined, sleek looking lace up derbies and Chelsea boots just feel a little too clean, a little too sharp.
That's how I feel
for like
about
the current kind of almost like crunchy look that is kind of in vogue.
I like that, the crunchy look. That makes sense. And that makes sense where my mindset's going. I have a pair of Chelsea boots. They're a nice pair of Chelsea boots. They fit me. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out what to wear them with. They look so much more like slim and tailored and sharp than anything else that I wear that it almost just looks like I'm top heavy from the ankles up when I wear them. And so it's just a never ending issue for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, if you're specifically looking for those type of the shoes that I'm mentioning, the brands that I would recommend checking out Danner, DM, Grenson, and then Yucatan as well.
Okay. That works for me. What have you already bought this fall in preparation for cooler weather?
Oh, man. Well, you mentioned that you're not shopping as much. I have. This pandemic has truly shown me that it's really almost not about wearing the clothes at all.
Well, okay, when I say I'm not shopping as much, this might just be a mental thing for me because I think I'm saving more money than I ever have because I'm not going out and doing anything.
And
I might be buying the same amount of more clothing and just not realizing it because my bank account doesn't look as struggle as it usually does around this time of year.
Yeah. So there are kind of like two items that I'm excited about. One, I'm sitting here and wearing in front of you today is this flannel. This is Bodie, probably a brand that I'm most excited about. And then I did also pull trig on an item from that Aime drop #1.
What'd you get?
I went with the yarn dye overshirt jacket.
Okay.
It's like the blue and white striped thing, and it's got the tie around at the waist. I've already mentioned that I kind of like that oversized like robe look almost.
That won the award for me on that drop of the item that I like the most that I could pull off the least. So I decided against it.
You actually got an item that I wish I had snatched up because I was very, very keen on those dark olive carpenter pants.
Oh yes.
And I was able to grab the navy, almost like denimish pair from spring 20 on the end of season sale. They had like every size.
Oh.
So I was kind of like, I didn't, but then all of a sudden, this like 18 East blew up their double knee carpenter pants. Like they blew them out the door. Like the Carhartt thing is this work pant thing is just huge right now.
Yeah.
These colors are better than the spring ones, and they make more sense as a fall pant anyway. So I'm not shocked that they're all gone now, but I am that pair of pants that you got. I'm hunting for them now.
It was the dumbest thing in the world. It was about 101 degrees outside. I was standing on a dock in Austin, Texas, waiting for someone to pick me up on their boat, just sweating so badly, surrounded by a bunch of people wearing masks, also trying to get on a boat. And there I am standing with my phone, brightness all the way up, about to overheat, just trying to place an order for a pair of thick, chunky, oversized carpenter pants. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing because that's going to be months before I can wear these. I did get them tailored, and I actually put them on last night in preparation for our weekend away next weekend.
Nice.
And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm pretty happy about this at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, you're big time on trend there with those. That's the best color. It's certainly the pant that is having the biggest moment right now, and I'm constantly searching grilled for those as the days go by. But yeah, so that's kind of this new flannel and a jacket are the two things that I've got hanging on a rack right now, just raring to go.
I just pulled up the jacket that you referenced, and I have to say I'm extremely jealous that you actually did that. All right, Barrett, in closing, I'm going to ask you a non-fashion question.
Okay, yeah.
Do you have any fall traditions that you like to do every season, whether it's the beers you drink, movies you watch, recipes you make, just anything?
Yes. Okay. Let me jump to movies real quick. I watch the first two Home Alones every year.
Just for fall season, not Christmas.
They start coming on in November, and I'm ready to watch them in November.
I think I agree with you.
I also, so that's the like you say fall, and those are the two movies that I think about. Even though, yes, they are Christmas movies. That's another debate that people love to have in the fall, is whether or not Home Alone is a Christmas movie or not.
Yeah,
it is.
I agree.
As far as fall, I mean, I love Halloween too. Like it's spooky season here in the Wash Media Studios. We're feeling very festive. Now, no like specific traditions for Halloween, but I definitely like to throw up some type of decorations, get the candy for the trick or treaters, and then I'm a costume guy. You've been on Club Cool to talk costumes before. With a couple of the circling back guys. So I definitely, I mean, it's tradition for me to go all in on a costume, definitely.
You've had some great ones.
That's something that I'm not sure is going to be a thing this year.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I've gone on record saying that I would like to be Rip from Yellowstone just so I can buy all his stuff. We will see whether or not that happens.
So John Dutton, I'm right there with you. I've thought about we just started watching Yellowstone, so we're through season 1, and man, they really got some fits going there at the Yellowstone Ranch.
I have to admit, I mean, I've been loving it. I haven't bought anything directly tied to the show, but I went and I bought a new down vest recently because I just wanted one. I needed one. I went and got one. And sure enough, the next night when we were watching Yellowstone, I saw Rip wearing something he had never worn before, and it was the exact vest that I had just purchased the day before. And I was like, oh man, like I'm getting way too influenced by this show at this point.
I mean, like I think Western is pretty influential on the current fashion landscape anyway, and so to have Yellowstone where it all looks very authentic is great. What are your fall traditions? What do you have in mind?
I like to drink a lot of just fall beers.
Yeah.
I like to do Sally and I don't think we did it last year, and I don't know if we'll do it this year, but we usually do like a fall beer taste test.
Okay.
Where we just go to the store and get a bunch of 1 cans of beer and just split them up and see what we like the most. In terms of movies I watch, I always do When Harry Met Sally. It's a great fall movie.
Okay.
I like to do Dead Poets Society. I enjoy. Sally always watches the Thanksgiving episodes of Friends, which I don't necessarily like seek out, but when they're on, I'm not really minding it too much.
Yeah.
I just like to do really kind of not super basic stuff, but just kind of stereotypical stuff.
Yeah. So. And are you a pumpkin spice guy?
I like pumpkin flavored things. I don't drink a lot of pumpkin spice things or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I will say, Sally buys a lot of pumpkin flavored things around this time of year, and we probably have enough around our apartment to do like a top 5 Trader Joe's pumpkin flavored things in our apartment. It's outrageous how much pumpkin stuff we have.
Speaking of food, the weather drops. It gets below 80 around mid to late September, and for us that means it's automatically soup season as well.
Oh yeah,
I'm a big soup guy, so we did our. The Instant Pot basically like stays in the cupboard through most of summer. It made its debut this past week. We did a minestrone, and it hits, man. I love soup. I really like soup.
I love soup.
Who was it? Was it Bill Simmons? Soup is the perfect food.
Yes, it's like, okay, Bill, chill out. Yep, yeah. Everyone, I've been known to jump the gun in Texas, at least, on pot roast.
Okay, yeah.
I love making a good pot roast, and it's real easy to jump the gun when, like, if you get one cold day here, I'm like, oh man, it's pot roast time, baby.
I'm hoping that your recent guest, the Bishan chef, Kayla Habe, puts out some soup recipes.
I voted on her last poll in favor of a lot of things that kind of was hoping that it would skew her in the direction of doing some kind of savory instant pot recipes, whether it's a pot roast or meatloaf, whatever it is. But I was fingers crossed hoping.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, Barrett, thanks for joining me. Where can the people follow you? Where can they listen to Club Cool? Plug yourself real quick.
Check me out on the social at Barrett Dudley, Instagram and Twitter. And then come give Club Cool a listen wherever you're listening to the Sunday Scaries podcast. We like to say that we meet at the intersection of style and pop culture. We definitely talk about fashion and clothing and what we're getting into and where the trends are going. And our most recent episode, which just came out, we have a great interview with the guy he has his own brand. He's really doing it out in LA. It's called Uniform. His name is Pat Allen, and he was really cool to talk to. So give it a listen.
If you liked what you heard today, make sure to subscribe, review, or tell a friend in need about this podcast. By subscribing, you guarantee that each and every episode gets delivered directly to your phone every Sunday morning. You can also follow along on Twitter at Sunday Scaries and Instagram, which is at Sunday.Scaries, or you can follow me both on Twitter and Instagram at Will DeFries. And remember, always trim the wicks on your scented candles. See you next Sunday.